Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to give you a shop tour. I try to do this once a year, and actually I think it's on my second one, maybe my third one. Either way, my plan is to do this once a year. So I'm going to show you how my shop looks. And you go through shop tours on YouTube and you'll see people, their shop's spotless, you know, everything has organization. I've never seen a shop look like that. This is I don't know what those guys do if they're neat freaks or they clean it really good right before they do it. This is a working shop. It's a hobby shop, but I still work in it. I have swept the floor, so that's a plus. So what you're going to see is how my shop is. Now, you'll see right here behind me, this is a project I'm working on. I've got some more pieces over there. But this is what a shop looks like, or at least my shop looks like. And maybe someday it'll be clean. Who knows? All right, starting off, there's my garage door. Newly insulated, by the way. That's always a plus. In this corner, I got a couple cabinets here. It's bottom cabinets full of stain and finish. So much so that I've got some stacked on top because it's plumb full. This top cabinet has more finish, along with some gloves and rags and some brushes I use for applying stain and finish. Right here is right beside them cabinets is my drill press. This is a Central Machinery I've got at Harbor Freight. Pretty good drill press. I actually did a tour review on it. I'll link it in whichever corner it ends up in. It's really good. I would like to have a floor model. Just simple fact, the space you got. I don't really need one, as this one does a really good job. The hardest thing with the drill press, and I believe it's all drill presses because the table is little. When you're drilling a big on a long piece, it's getting it level, so you usually got to stack something up. You know, that's probably the hardest one, but other than that, it's a good drill press. Right above the drill press here, I have my little rack I made for all my drills, my impact, my light, you know, spare batteries. I got a box joint sled up there. Pretty sure y'all can see that. I made it a long time ago and it's still good use. That's new this year, by the way. Down below it, this is a fan I bought. All my tools are Craftsman, runs off battery. So, got that fan. It's my battery charger rack here. I guess rack's what you call it. Simple, right there beside the plug, out of the way. Very, very nice to have. Dado blade set goes from a table saw. I'm telling you, before I bought that one, making any kind of cut that was wider than your normal table saw blade was horrible. That speeds things up a whole lot. Wise purchase. If you ain't got one, look into them. Beside that, on the edge here is my sandpaper little rack I made. A lot easier than dealing with just the little boxes scattered everywhere. So that is a wise purchase as well. Wise purchase. Good idea to make. Still in the box here is a brand new sander I got for Christmas. It's actually my third or fourth sander. So one day I'll open it and use it. Here's on this table is this little plate I made for my mom. She just had surgery and I figured it'd help her carry things to the house with her walker. You know, back surgery kill you, take you back. And I've got a couple tools laying out here. Like I said, everything is just scattered. This is, like I said, a working shop. Small shop. You're gonna have stuff in your way. So right here is my miter saw, along with this whole miter station I made. I made this last summer along with my workbench. But miter saw is the nose. My last one was a Cobalt. I couldn't tell you the sliding Cobalt. I couldn't tell you the number or the model. But this is DeWalt's 12-inch, and I can't tell you the number on it. I'll put it in the description. It don't slide, but you know, right here, DW S7 12-inch compound miter saw. Very, very loud, honestly, compared to my last miter saw. It's very loud, but I haven't had one problem out of it. Like when I first used it, I was expecting to be nice and smooth like a Cobalt was. I pulled it down a little bit and hit that trigger to, cut my first bore with it. And there's so much power on the takeoff, it pulled up a little bit. So that's something you got to be, so much, I guess, torque, what calls that? Anyways, you got to be very, very careful with this miter saw. But I absolutely love it. I do. Here behind the miter saw, you have just my wall of tools here. I got 12-inch square, comes very handy. Of course, fragment square, a couple pull saws, pin nailer, and brad nailer. I just like to keep them there because they're smaller and they'll fit. Maybe someday I'll put them over the rest of my nail guns. I've got wood just stacked here. I also got my flush cut saw stacked here. I'm gonna put a hole in this so I can hang it up someday, but I haven't yet. Extra screws I got while I was insulating my ceiling. DeWalt sander, orbital sander. This is usually, because it's corded, this is the sander I use the most. New purchase, trim router. It's a Bosch Colt. If you have one router and you don't think you need a trim router, you need a trim router. Believe me, it's a lot easier. But then again, if you have a trim router and you don't think you need a big router, you're crazy, because believe me, you need one that don't have the power to do what my big router does. Which reminds me, on the shelf underneath my miter saw is my DeWalt biscuit joiner and my Win plunge router. So, of course, I've always done mechanic work. I do maintenance in a factory, so mechanical tools here, stacked up, hung up. Extra screws right here along with it. Of course, I got some levels. The Craig jigs, I don't really use them, but I have them. Don't ask why I have them. Little screwdrivers, all I done was took a board and drilled holes in it and hung it up, and I put all my screwdrivers in it, that way they're organized. Nail guns, a framing nailer and finished nailer. All my nail guns are from Harbor Freight, for simple fact I don't use them a lot except my brad nailer and my pin nailer. So, and even with those, to be from Harbor Freight, they are decent quality. So, I mean, that's something to look into if you don't want to spend a lot of money. Go ahead. So I got just a little rack I made, jigsaw blades, a couple scrapers. All this stacked in front of me here is for that same project at the very beginning. So there will be a video on it. I've actually been working on it. So this makes my shop look more cluttered, but it is what it is. How's that? So I have a Cobalt toolbox here filled up, different tools. Behind this I have my air compressor. It is a 21-gallon from Harbor Freight, hooked up to a 100-foot air hose. In case I get a flat tire outside, instead of moving my air compressor, I can just unhook my air hose and run it on out there. It really is good when you're on a job, when you go somewhere and you're on a job where you don't know how far it's going to be from the plug, or whatever you got going on. I made a greenhouse and a chicken run for a family, local family I love to death. They're great people. That come in real handy. So here I got another toolbox, plumb full of woodworking tools. I ain't gonna get into it due to the fact I got all this in the way. It happens sometimes, I'm telling you. Here's my Win bandsaw. If you're in the market to get a bandsaw, get one bigger than, I think it's 4 inches max it'll do. I can't resaw nothing for that fact, but this is also my first bandsaw, and it was basically a learning experience. For some things I use it for, this is real handy. I did do a tour review on this one too. I'll put the link up to it above it. Below, I made the stand for the band. You can't even see it. I made a store for the bandsaw, and I stuck underneath it. It's full of walnut. My dust collector is up here above it. Well, it's also in the corner. A vacuum fork is as I run lines up in my rafters just to keep from having to trip over them. Harbor Freight 70 gallon. Of course, my bag and the filter bags right there. In that corner above it is a bunch of clamps. Those are 2 foot, 1 foot, and 6-inch clamps. Try to keep those organized. And then here in front of them is my workhorse for the shop. Every single job I'm on, the most use gets out of these 2 tools right here. This is my wind joiner, and this is my wind planer. I'm hoping to upgrade these sometime, probably the joiner first, because like I said, those big projects, those are 8-foot boards glued up, and those are horrible running through a little, I think the bed on this is 28 inches, nowhere near big enough. So I'm hoping to upgrade it. I'm looking at Grizzly 6-inch by 4 foot on 4-foot bed on the joiner, and a Grizzly 15-inch on the planer. So I like to have the Grizzly 8-inch by 6 foot and then the Grizzly 20-inch planer, but that's a lot of money for a hobby shop, so try to keep that in mind. What Kentucky shop is, well, is out there without some antlers. This is a buck I killed a few years ago. Used to have them hanging up, but now every now and then need some inspiration. Rattle your antlers a little bit, it'll come to you. I'm gonna fix these, take them in the house sometime. I just have it. Of course, right here beside them's a bunch of extension cords set up. I got different sealants and other like WD-40, some brake, throttle body cleaner, brake cleaner, all that. You know, right there above it. You notice I used to have a Grizzly lathe back there. I never used it, and I sold it. You know, I wish I hadn't, but at the same time, I never used it, and it was just sitting there wasting space, so I got rid of it. Here's my rigid oscillating sander I bought from the same guy I work with that sold me the lathe. It's still here. It's still handy. It makes me money. Don't make me money, but it helps me. Above over on the wall, that's probably the first project I made for the shop. Is a paper towel rack. There's a shelf plumb full of unnecessary stuff, and down below it, of course, my deep freeze. It's full of water. Keep them froze. You ain't gotta buy ice packs. My shop heater. So maybe someday. I'm hoping. I got most of my insulation done, which was a plus. I still haven't done the gable ends yet. But I'm hoping sometime within this year, hopefully before summer, I can have a split unit put in here, so that'll help. Of course, you know, 6-foot ladder. And this is a sad state of my router table. This is the Cobalt router table, and it's a catch-all till I use it sometimes. It's right beside my walk-in door, so it becomes catch-all. Here, this is definitely new from last year. Last year I had it was a Delta Shopmaster. Little bitty, like the whole table saw wasn't that wide. So this is absolutely a beast compared to it. This is a Delta. One of these days I'm gonna prepare for these. Yeah, I don't know. But it is without a doubt. What is this? I don't know. It is without a doubt a big upgrade. Absolutely. Like, check this out. Before, for my fence, I had to measure, because every time I move it, it does this number. So I had to measure all the way to the end, make sure I was good. You know how nice that is? this workbench, I made it last summer, and you can see what I do with my apron when I'm not working. I made this workbench last summer. About the same time I made that whole miter saw station. All this is made out of poplar. The whole frame's made out of poplar, except the top is red oak. And of course, dog holes. You know, you got dog holes on the side. Red oak vise down here on the end. And that catch, that has a name for it, and I cannot think of it. But it's a Roubo style workbench, and it was much needed compared to what I had before. What I had before was just 2x4s and 1/2 inch sheet of plywood on top, and it was bowing every which way you could think of, and it was really causing a lot of issues when I was trying to do projects. So basically, that was kind of rushed, I feel like, but that's my shop. It is 18 foot wide, 24 foot long, 432 foot. And really, there's not a lot to it. There's a lot in a small space. I'm really hoping someday I'll be able to build a bigger shop, but that ain't now. So I've got to do with what I got. A few upgrades, a few thoughts for the future. Finish the installation. As you can see in the background, I've got the ceiling insulated, and actually done a video on that as well, or at least talked about how I done it. Joiner, my plan, we'll go this way. Step 1, installation. Step 2, split unit heat and air. Step 3, new joiner. Step 4, new planer. That's my goal. Now, whether or not that happens or not, we'll figure it out. So, I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. So, if you like your shop, if you got any ideas on how I could take my area, my space, and make it better, that would be great. If you don't, you know, that'd be great too. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you have any suggestions, any questions, anything, please put them in the comments. I read them all. And you know, I appreciate all my subscribers. You guys are the reason I do this. I actually started this channel. I ain't really told nobody, I don't think. I started this channel as a way when I was making projects, a way to keep track of certain ways I've done things, stuff like that, and I put them on here so I didn't have a bunch of stuff on my phone. And you guys have really shown me some love, show me, you know, that y'all appreciate me, and I appreciate everything y'all have done. You know, watching my videos, the subscribers, you know, we reached over 500, which I didn't think I would ever see over 20. You know, thank y'all for everything. I'll be seeing y'all next one. The next video will be that big project. So, you know, stay tuned. I appreciate you. God bless.